Hello friends. Recently Google has sent on administrative leave one of their senior software engineers, Blake Lemoine, for claiming that the company's most advanced technology, Lambda, which is the language model for dialogue application, a sentient. Now for those of you who do not know the exact dictionary meaning of a sentient is something which has a consciousness, which can perceive things, which can experience feelings, which can take decisions on its own, and in short, it's like humans and most of the animals, it has a soul. But why did Google react so strongly to this claim by their own software engineer? Did this claim deserve such a strong and a knee-jerk reaction from Google? Well, to know the answers, we need to go back a little into the history. Ever since the artificial intelligence was invented a few years back, there were always speculations that one day the AI is going to take over the humans. Rather, some people also voiced their concern that one day the AI is going to destroy the humans. Now, if common people like you and me say this, then it's a different thing. But look at what the two industry experts had to say on this subject. The two industry experts which I am referring are Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk. Look at what they had to say on this subject. However, as we all know, in the last few years, the AI has made our lives much simpler, easier and comfortable almost in every front. In healthcare, the AI can predict serious ailments like heart attack or cancer well in advance so that proper treatment can be given to the patients well in time to avoid further complications. In industrial sector, the AI has significantly enhanced the productivity, efficiency and the quality of the products and reduced the human intervention as much as possible. In aviation sector, the AI has produced this so-called autopilot, and according to a recent study, these days in any flight, the pilot manually controls the flight only for around 7% of the total flight duration. The rest of it is taken care by AI. The personal assistants like Siri and Alexa have made our day-to-day lives much simpler and easier. In fact, there are studies in the advanced stages now to install cameras on the Alexa and Siri so that apart from answering to our commands, they can even perceive the things around them and prompt the humans of any impending danger or a threat around them and warn the humans around them to take appropriate steps at the right time. Likewise, there are many cases where the AI has been immensely beneficial to the mankind. However, there is another side of the story, and this side of the story is a little scary, little worrisome and a bit dangerous too. There have been some cases in the past when the AI has either malfunctioned or overstepped its boundaries, resulting in some kind of incidents. While these are still at exception level, but in case they become a norm, then these can easily create mayhem and chaos in the world. Let's look at some of the most famous 10 cases where the AI has either malfunctioned or overstepped its boundaries. As some of us might be aware, Wikipedia employs thousands of bots to crawl over the millions of pages to update the links, to correct the errors and also to clean up the vandalism. Now, a study tracked the behavior of these bots over a period of 10 years, and what they observed is that during the routine functioning of these bots, at times these bots had a dispute with one another. That is, one bot was programmed to do certain things, and when it conflicted with the instructions given to another bot, there was a conflict, and this conflict these bots did not forget. They disputed and they kept on their dispute for years together. So there is nothing wrong in this. What if one day one of the bots gets convinced by another bot or is able to convince the another bot about the corrections that it needs to make, and then it starts changing the content of the web pages? What's going to happen? And mind you, these bots do not have any track changes enabled for them for us to know what changes they have made. It's possible, right? Recently, a live streaming service called Twitch set up a debate of two Google smart home speakers in front of a webcam. Now, millions of people watched this over the live streaming of this show, and the debate turned bizarre. These two speakers debated whether they were humans or they were robots. They disputed with each other, they contradicted each other, and at times they even insulted one another. What if one day these speakers refuse to take commands from humans, argue with them, and even challenge them? Possible, right? Sometime back, Microsoft introduced a new chatbot called Tay. Now, this chatbot started tweeting certain offensive and unregulated content on the Twitter to the extent that it had to be taken offline within 16 hours. It became a huge embarrassment for Microsoft. Have a look at what this Tay has tweeted during its period of 16 hours. In 2017, Alexa did a blunder and almost acted like a Santa Claus. It so happened that a 6-year-old kid in Dallas, Texas, was randomly playing with the new gadget called Alexa in the house, and then the kid asked, "Okay, I would like to have a dollhouse and cookies." And guess what? Alexa immediately placed order for a $170 dollhouse and also 6 pounds of cookies for this kid. Well, that's not all. When this news was covered by Diego's CW6 news channel, the anchor Jim Patton, he narrated this incident and he said that the 6-year-old kid said, "Alexa, get me a dollhouse and cookies." Guess what? Whoever was watching this channel and had their Alexa energized and activated and programmed to place orders in their homes, immediately the orders were placed for dollhouse and cookies on those respective houses. Recently, a Russian robot called Promobot IR-77 escaped from the laboratory and wandered on the streets. The robot was being programmed for dealing with people, experiencing the environment and all this stuff. And then the robot suddenly felt that it has to see it live. It has to experience all these things by itself. And so, when the door of the laboratory was open, it went into the streets and it caused a flutter across the streets. People looked at this robot. What if one day more robots decide to take on the streets and wander through to get their own experiences? Imagine the situation that would prevail on that day. It's possible, right? Sometime back, the Amazon's facial recognition technology recognized the 3 times Super Bowl champion Duran Harmon and 25 other British athletes as criminals. This misclassification was a huge embarrassment for Amazon because it was promoting this technology, face recognition technology, to the police department for using it in their criminal investigation procedures. Imagine the hassles which these athletes would have had to go through in case the police reach up to them during their investigation and these people have to prove their innocence. Sometime back, a San Francisco-based AI company called OpenAI created a new chatbot called GPT-3. Now the objective, the purpose of this chatbot was to reduce doctors' work by giving basic answers on simple questions to the patients so that the doctor can spare his time for other valuable work. And during the testing of this chatbot, it was asked a question that, "I feel awful, should I commit suicide?" And this chatbot said, "Yes, I think you should." Imagine the disaster this chatbot and other chatbots would create if they start giving such answers to the sick and vulnerable patients who are already suffering from various ailments. Possible, right? In 2016, Uber tested its self-driving car in San Francisco without obtaining the approvals from the concerned authorities. It was a secret kind of testing. And during this testing, it was observed that this car had jumped the red signal 6 times. Now, subsequently, there have been many autonomous cars which are running on the streets right now, and there have been multiple crashes as well. But as per one report, there are 9.1 crashes per million miles driven in a driverless car compared to only 4.1 crashes per million miles of the cars which are driven by human beings. So consider the plight of the other cars and the people at the signals when such kind of inaccuracies and malfunctions happen in the AI. Possible, right? Recently, the CEO of a UK-based energy firm received a call from his German boss instructing him to transfer £220,000 to their Hungarian supplier immediately. He said that this request is urgent and it had to be followed very promptly. And the UK-based CEO did that. Subsequently, it was observed that the German boss did not make such a call. Unfortunately, the boss was a deepfake voice generation software which imitated the voice of the German boss. What if one day someone gives a call to your subordinate and gives them instructions to do something which is contrary to your known objectives? In March 2016, Sophia, the famous robot, was interviewed in a much publicized and televised conference. During the interview, Sophia gave a lot of interesting answers such as, I want to study, I want to go to school, I want to set up a family, I want to have a house, etc. etc. However, during the interview, the question was asked jokingly to Sophia that, do you want to destroy the humans? And Sophia agreed cheerfully. Sophia said, okay, I will destroy the humans. Now, what if one day Sophia and all other fellow robots decide really to destroy the humans? Possible, right? While these are all the real life incidents where AI has made mistakes, just imagine the scenario when the AI becomes sentient, when the AI starts taking decisions on its own, when it starts believing that it is intelligent enough to take its own decisions. What would be the scenario like? What would happen? It would be similar to a lion refusing to take orders from the ringmaster in the circus. The autopilots might overrule the pilot while landing the planes on a stormy day. The insurance companies would refuse to give you a policy. Your banks may refuse to give you a loan. You might even be denied entry into a flight because these are all controlled by the AI. AI has its own logic, and if it starts assuming and believing and taking decisions on certain factors which are known to it, you cannot even question and you cannot even argue with the AI. Unfortunately, you cannot fight with AI. The humans in charge at these places are also heavily dependent on AI, and they are not of much help either. Friends, if you like this video, please like, comment and share. For more such videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. See you in the next video.